Greetings, friends and enemies, and welcome to a very special episode of Art by Flan. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the art of cooking. We're making a very special dish, ramen, with a side of spring rolls and gyoza for a delicious Japanese-inspired meal. So let's get started. So, we start by opening up our fancy cooking kit, complete with everything you need to create this delicious Japanese-inspired meal. So we'll start by opening it up and taking a look at what's inside. Everything you need is right in here, starting with some powders, a toothpick for poking holes in things. You got a tiny fork so you can stir and also eat things. You got a plastic baggie for holding stuff. And you got a mold. I'm assuming that's for something. And then you finally have another powder. Let's just take a look at what these powders are. That one's for mango pudding. And this one, dough of some sort. And of course, we gotta have our noodle powder. Oh, yep, gotta have our noodle powder. And here we have some delicious soup powder. Can you believe in this 21st century we can make any kind of delicious meal from powders? And of course, a special pouch that just says ingredients. I'm sure we'll have a use for that. So let's start by making up our mango pudding. We start with our little mold and we add our special mango powder. That's right, friends. Mango pudding in a powder. I think that's been around since the 80s or what, maybe even earlier than that. I don't know when Jello was invented. Don't ask me. So we're stirring it up, and easy as that, we have some mango pudding. We're gonna just leave that sit, put it to the side, and move on to the next step. Here we have our dough. So first we're gonna add a little bit of powder, mix it up, add a little bit more powder, mix it up, realize it's super gooey, get lazy, and dump it all in and start mixing it up until it becomes a dough-like consistency. Oh, and also make sure to make a complete and utter mess of your workstation before you finally realize that maybe the fork isn't good enough and you gotta go in with your fingers and watch it get stuck to you, and you start to get a glass of water before moving on to our next step. We're going to use our special little molds here and create all the fun shapes of the Naruto, the Naruto and the egg. And no, I'm not talking about the anime character. I'm talking about the little fish cake that he's named after. And of course, we're going to put those to the side so they're nice and ready for our completed meal. And we're going to move on to one of the most important parts. That's right, the side dumplings. We're going to take what's left of our dough, split it into 4 completely unequal parts. Should have been equal. Take our little gyoza mold here. Gonna stick it all on there. Fight with it for a bit because you use the small chunks when you should use the big chunks. And then you're gonna add some of the special ingredients. Now watch as I masterfully close this special gyoza. Oh, that's right. Look at that. Perfectly exploding from the edges of the mold. Just how the Japanese make it. That's right. And now we're going to move on to our other special side dish, the spring roll. We're going to get our little template here, and we're going to squish out all of our dough. Now we've learned from our mistakes, and we wet our fingers just a bit to make sure it's nice and slippery and doesn't want to stay still at all before adding our ingredients again and rolling that up like a tiny baby burrito. That's right, friends. I rolled burritos at a restaurant for about a week. I know exactly what I'm doing here. That's right, only on a mini scale. Alright, next we're moving on to the good stuff. That's right, folks, now we're making the ramen. First we start with our base, throw a little powder into that water, give it a little mixeroo, make sure all that powder, that magic food powder is dissolved. Here we go, get it real good, make sure it's nice and dissolved in there. Don't want no crunchy ramen. Nobody wants no crunchy ramen. And then we're going to move on to the noodles. We're going to start by making our magic noodle powder, adding it to our magic noodle powder water, and giving that a good mix as well. As also, a good chef always keeps their scissors pointed directly at them while they work, obviously. So we're going to high speed mix all this up because I am a human mixing machine and didn't just speed up the footage like a normal person would do. What would ever make you think that? And then we're going to move on and place it into our special bag. But first, we gotta use that toothpick to poke a hole in the bag so we can squeeze it out later. So we add our special noodle dough into our special noodle dough bag. scooping it all up in there. Make sure you got everything. I'm making a complete mess of your workstation. And you start just squirting it in there any old way you like. As long as it squirts, you got it in there. Let's see a little slow-mo action on them noodles. That's right, friends. This part was so satisfying. Look at that. Look at how satisfying that is. This was the best part. Look at it go. Just making some fun noodles. And here we have our finished meal. Let's take a little test bite. Delicious. So that was my little foyer into cooking a fancy Japanese meal. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more dumb videos like this, leave a comment in the description or leave a like. You can follow for, actual art videos starting next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.